Dear students, in the revised pattern of Engineering Services 2017 as announced by UPSC in the stage 1, that is preliminary exam, there are 10 topics under general studies and engineering aptitude. You are well aware of this. In these 10 topics, ethics and values in engineering profession is going to play an important role. We at ACE Engineering Academy made a wide research for the last 3-4 months with our team of subject experts, and we have decided some 10 possible or probable topics, and we also identified how a question can be framed in this particular topic. So today we are going to give an awareness session on this particular topic. So our team identified 10 possible chapters in this particular ethics subject. The first is Introduction to Ethics and Values in Engineering Profession. So in this particular topic, you have to understand what is a value, what is a moral, what is ethics and virtues. Similarly, you should know the definition of a profession, a professionalism, whether engineering is a profession. So such an analysis, questions based on that type of analysis will be discussed here. The second is moral reasoning and ethical theories. While delivering our engineering problems, we come across several issues. How to find out a solution particular problem. To find out a solution for that, ethical theories, they give a broad framework. So using these ethical theories, we can come out a better solution which will have larger perspective, of doing good to the society. The third is codes of ethics. Let it be any branch of engineering or any engineering design is governed by certain codes. Similarly, this particular subject, ethics and values in engineering profession, is also governed by certain codes. The most popular codes of ethics are NSPE, National Society for Professional Engineers, IEEE, etc. So in these codes of ethics, what are the fundamental duties, rules of practice, etc. to be followed by engineers will be discussed. The fourth is engineering as a social experimentation. See, a particular problem has erupted in the world. You have to find out a solution. So while finding out a solution, one side you will have the benefits. Benefits may move or carry along with them certain risks to the society. So how to judge whether a particular solution is suitable to a particular society or not? So engineering as a social experimentation will deal with that type of concepts. Fifth is engineers' responsibility for safety and risk. See, after all, anything finally should give a safe environment to the occupants and to everybody. Safety not only to the occupants, to the environment also. So this deals with. The sixth one is responsibility and rights of engineers. So every individual in this world has got certain rights and duties. Similarly, engineers also have their own responsibilities. They have their own individual rights. So what are those things will be discussed here. Seventh one is the environment and sustainable engineering design. See, whatever you do, it should not affect the environment. If any design solution affects environment, it will not have a long life. So that analysis will be done here. Eighth is global issues. Now the entire world has become a village with an internet. You know, multinational companies and various issues related to that, intellectual property rights. So all those issues will be covered under global issues. Ninth one is the ethical audit. See, any decision taken, it may be based on certain codes of ethics, but it should have some auditing system. So there are certain rules to audit any ethical decision taken. Such things will be discussed here. 10th is case studies. So how these various principles of ethics are evolved. They are evolved based on certain real case studies. We have the Bhopal gas tragedy in India, Chernobyl disaster. So likewise, even Titanic disaster, So there are several disastrous failures. From those failures, we learned a lot. So from those learnings, our ethical system, we have to modify our system. So how these case studies will help in changing the thinking pattern of engineers. So that is going to be discussed in these particular case studies. Anyway, I have given only broader picture. Our subject expert, Professor Mr. Neil Meghsham Desai, will give a better, little bit wider discussion on these topics. I welcome Professor Neil Meghsham Desai.
Thank you, sir. Now, we will go into details of the topics one by one. The first topic is Introduction to Ethics and Values in Engineering Profession. The chief terminologies that we come across in this topic are values, morals, ethics, profession and professionalism. Let us visit each of them. Values are inbuilt mechanisms. We are born with these qualities. Examples of values are do good to others, do not harm others, don't tell lies, kind of things. And they help us in discriminating what is good, what is bad. They also are applied on ourselves. The second terminology is morals. Morals are perceived components based on customs and traditions. We apply these morals on others, which means that when we evaluate others, we apply morals. The third one, more restrictive one, is ethics. Ethics is a set of codes which a set of people or a group of people would like to follow. Ethics are more restrictive and more imposing than morals or values. Diagrammatically, we will see them as they are applied to each of us. Ethics innermost, followed by values, followed by morals. Coming to ethics, there are various levels of ethics. This also we will see as a diagram. Innermost level, personal ethics, followed by professional ethics, and which is followed by social ethics. Of all these, social ethics are highest in the order, which means that when I am in conflict to take a decision, social obligation is more important than either professional or personal ethics. The next terminology we come across is profession. A profession will be called if and only if it fulfills certain characteristics. The first and foremost, sophisticated skills. The skills which can be applied with knowledge. The second one, when we are confronted with various situations, conflicting situations, then we should be able to take a good decision, good judgment based on discretion. We apply discretion. The third one, there should be extensive formal education. Remember, my dear friends, education gives ability to judge, discriminate as well as apply skills. Now there is a difference between education and training. Certain skills are trained, like an artist, like a carpenter. They are trained for doing some work repeatedly. There is no creativity. So one more quality that comes across when we call a profession as a profession is creativity. Take an example of a civil engineer. he has to do planning. The fact that an engineer has done a planning for a building doesn't mean anything. At the same time, it means something. What do we mean by this? It doesn't mean anything means every building plan is independent in itself, unique in itself. Various parameters come into picture when we come across planning buildings. And above all, the culmination of all these skills put together is doing good to the society. So, profession is doing good to the society with the help of all these components. Now, we will come across the last terminology, professionalism. Professionalism is the ability to discriminate what is good and what is bad and take appropriate decision in the interest of the society. The objective is to ensure that the technology that offers both advantages as well as disadvantages happens in such a way that the advantages are always better than disadvantages. And there are three responsibilities that every professional will have to fulfill. The first and foremost, safety and welfare and security to the society. The second one, the competence, the ease with which the skills will be applied to complete the task. And the third one, proper communication, whether good or bad, to the management at appropriate time. So, with all this, can engineering be called as a profession? Legally, engineering is not a profession in our country as yet, but from work point of view, its influence and impact on the society point of view, engineering is definitely a profession, though it is not legally. Now, we will go to the next important quintessential topic, a question about engineering ethics. Why should we study or familiarize ourselves with engineering ethics? We can see the technological terminology given here. Technological risks should not overshadow technological benefits. Engineering ethics gives an understanding about the positive dimension of engineering inventions which enhance the convenience and beauty of everyday life of mankind. An important point here is that engineers, in their pursuit to complete the task, are confronted with various conflicting situations. They have to take appropriate decisions, and they should be ethically, morally and socially bound decisions also. So, the last important point is, the point which is very important is, everyday life of mankind being made beautiful is very emphasized here. Our pursuit should be to fulfill that. An important point, to strengthen one's ability to reason clearly, carefully about moral questions. The second one, to increase one's ability to deal effectively with moral complexity. To complete this component, we will see a sample question, a couple of questions on this component. A basic question on engineering profession. The question is, can we call engineering as a profession? If so, what are the points that support this argument? The work requires sophisticated skills, use of judgment and exercise of discretion. Definitely, we have seen this just now. Work is routine and capable of being mechanized. We said work is not routine for the engineer. We will revisit civil engineering example to understand this point better. Civil engineer does plan work, as we said earlier, but the plan from one building to another building changes a lot. It depends on various parameters which are different from one environment to another environment. To cite some examples, let me tell, the soil texture, the wind energy forces, the dynamic and static loads, human resources load that work in the office are different from one environment to another environment. That requires a lot of creativity on the part of the engineer. So, second point is not correct. A clue here, look to the options where 2 is not there, that becomes your answer. So, the decider is answer B, 1, 3, 4 and 5. We will see another question. a little bit higher, dealing with definitions. Values aid human beings transform to higher and purer levels. Definitely, values, as we said, are built-in mechanisms. When we apply values to ourselves, we evolve as good human beings. So the keyword here is purer level. The second one, values are concerned with the dexterity, that means skill, efficiency, etc. of doing work. My dear friends, anything that deals with doing work involves body, anything that involves body is associated with skill. Hence, second point is false here. The obvious answer would be C. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. We will see another question. Study of engineering ethics advocates two approaches. One of them is microethics approach, the second one is macroethics approach. Now, what does microethics deal with? Let me elaborate this point. Micro is to deal with individuals, corporations, societies, and macro is a much larger level problem which is applied at the nation level. If you look at the answers carefully, there are only two options left for you, 1 and 4, because the decision pertaining to group of people covered in the companies, decision pertaining to legal actions misconducted covered in the companies and professionals again. So the choice is between 1 and 2. Obviously, the answer is A, micro level. We will go to the second topic, moral reasoning and ethical theories. There is a beautiful quote given by famous philosopher John Dewey. What is moral reasoning? Whatever decisions we take, there should be a particular reason for that and there should be rationale for that, which means that when we take a decision, we are confronted with choices now. When we exercise a better choice, that leads to reasonableness. What is this reasonableness in the context of moral reasoning? It should be giving respect to others, respect to ourselves, protect others, protect ourselves as well. As you can see the last statement here, moral reasons require us to respect other people as well as ourselves, to care for others' good as well as ours own. Now, what are these ethical theories? To help professionals and engineers in particular, various philosophers have developed various theories that work as framework for us to take appropriate decisions which are reasonably based ones. We will see the theories now. The first and foremost is utilitarian ethics. This is based on doing maximum good to maximum people, proposed by Bentham and Mill. There are sub theories in these components. We will see a little bit of this when we encounter a question once again based on this topic. The second one, deontology, do your duty. Doing good to others is your duty, do good to others. The third one, rights ethics. This is based on human rights. Every human is eligible for autonomy. When we do our duty protecting human rights of everybody, then that theory is rights ethics. Virtue ethics is individual based one. We try to do good to others without the help of any of the rules or frameworks. Then we say virtue ethics. And to have developed these theories properly, applicative theories are provided by two famous philosophers. One is Kohlberg, second one is Galligan. Both are one and the same. I can say they are two sides of the same coin. One applies to males, other is made to apply to females. An inclusive theory proposed by Galligan. Both of them are applicable at the three stages. The first one, pre-convention. When someone is applying these theories, someone is working, they do not want to override the rules. They absolutely strictly follow the rules. Then it is called as pre-convention. At the second stage, when they evolve over a period of time, gain some experience, they do not want to bypass the rules, they want to be good to all, and that is called as convention development. The third one is post-convention, where it is left to the individual's ethics to complete the task and do good to the others. Similar argument can be given for Galligan as well. Now, one important component is dilemma. Ethical theories help us in facing dilemma with confidence and take appropriate decision, a clear decision which is in the interest of the society. As you can see the point, choose between two right courses of action. Dilemma is not about one good and one bad. Both could be good, both could be bad. In the first case, which good you take? In the second case, which is the least damaging bad that you take decision is more important. The principle for taking these decisions is be alert, inform all the stakeholders and advise appropriate decision. Again, ethical theories and moral ethical dilemma are of types, several types. Autonomy, where you are autonomous to take the decision. Disagreement, absolutism. Absolutism means applicable to all, universally, a common law is applicable to all. Relativism, in some parts of the country or in some parts of the society, the rule is applicable, in some parts it may not be applicable, it depends on the community. For example, let me take a computer science example here. Phishing and spam emails is not a crime in Russia, whereas it is a crime in USA. So it depends on the society. We will see questions now again. Which of the following is not a use of ethical theories? Comprehensive, clear, consistent understanding of moral dilemma, which is a basic requirement of ethical theories. Theoretical guidance on moral issues towards the solution. It's not the theoretical solution, please. It is not theoretical guidance. It gives a practical framework to take appropriate decisions. So, second point is not correct. Justify professional obligations and decisions. When you take decision, you are fulfilling your responsibilities as well as obligations. Relating personal morality and professional morality. This is obviously a clear point. So, the answer is B here. We will see another question. Identify the true statement, again based on ethical theories only. Stealing of old and not in use equipment by employee is not wrong according to rule utilitarian theory, but a punishable wrong according to act utilitarian theory. Second one, in reflective equilibrium, decisions are made are always as prescribed by the theories. We'll go a little bit detail into these components. We have seen various ethical theories. Act utilitarian and rule utilitarian are sub-theories of utilitarian theory. Act utilitarian theory says whatever action is done should be in the better interest of the society. It should do good to large group of people. Rule utilitarian says rule is rule, it should be followed in toto. In a way, we say act utilitarian is more restrictive than rule utilitarian. And remaining 2 points are straight points, and the answer is A. Right. Primary difficulty in solving ethical dilemma is uncertainty about the facts rather than the conflicting values. Uncertainty about the conflicting values rather than the facts, the inverse of the first charge is given. Intensity or seriousness of impending threat, conflicting between faithfulness to the organization and profession. As you can see, again this question is very simple to answer. When do we face dilemma? When there are no facts known about the issue. When we are not clear of the issue, we are in confusion. So, first statement is the answer. The next topic of paramount importance in the whole subject is codes of ethics and professional bodies. Professional bodies are the bodies constituted either by willing interest of a group of people or by a charter of government. In the second case, it is legal entity. In the first case, it is voluntary entity. Get the difference between these two, please. For engineering, there are about 30 to 33 professional societies in India, apart from the other professional bodies for other professions. What are these bodies? They formulate a set of rules, a set of obligations which we are supposed to fulfill, abide by them. They give ethics, a set of rules to accept. Why are they needed? As we saw in the previous discussion so far, engineering has a profound impact on the society. The tasks done by engineers reflect very bad or very good or in some fashion on the society. Safety of the society is very important. The bodies have formulated certain set of rules to be followed which are in the interest of the society as well as profession, and they guide for professionalism and resolving conflicts of interest. What is conflict of interest? We will see in another topic. The most important or most popular body or pioneering body I can say in this line is NSPE, National Society for Professional Engineers. It has made a set of document consisting of 5 sections. An opening section which defines something called as oath. Every engineer is supposed to take oath, but it is not administered by anybody like it happens in medical or chartered accountants or lawyer professionals. Preamble. The next one, fundamental canons. This is an opening topic of what is there in the inside the code of ethics. Rules of practice are mandatory and should be followed by every engineer in toto. It's very spanning across various activities done by the engineers are covered elaborately in this set of rules, my dear friends. The third one and the last one is obligations. Obligations are not mandatory, but we are supposed to fulfill. Let me elaborate on these obligations. All of us or most of the engineers work in organizations. We see normally notices given on the boards. Do not use internet for your personal purposes. It is an ethical problem. We are not supposed to use office resources for our personal purposes. But you never see, do not take personal printouts from your printer. Printer here becomes an obligation. You are not supposed to do it. Not watching internet for personal purposes is mandatory. I hope I am clear about this point. Now, other professional bodies in India will take IEEE is an American association which has presence in almost every country. IEA, Institution of Engineers, IETE, as I said earlier, more than 30 professional societies in India are there. We will see a question on profession, match the following type of. On one side you have attributes, on the second side description. A, societies, will try to match with the societies. Societies set standards for the profession. A4. When we look to A4, one choice is eliminated, D is eliminated. Judgment is about deciding what to work. So B and 5 match together. That gives us choices, again 2 only. Skill set, I will go with D. Skill set is method of doing work, D3. That gives me a choice of A, and hence the answer is A here. Now what is discretion? Discretion is maintaining privacy. How is it? In a profession, discretion means not revealing information to the people who are not eligible to receive it. That's called as discretion. Hence, choice is A. We'll see another question. Again, match the following. Secure work by bribing is, while you are securing work by bribing, you are deceiving somebody. So 1 and 4, again applying principle of elimination, B is eliminated straight away here. Acknowledge errors. We are honest people. We should acknowledge our errors. So it is basically professional obligation. The third one, misleading pretenses. They are misleading. That means you are putting somebody into a jeopardy or confusion. Attract engineers from other enterprises is the answer. Last one left out is public interest. We are engineers. We work in industry. We may be working in institutions. But there is another set of people in the society who require our services. My dear friends, it is our responsibility to reach out, to establish relationship between industry and institution and do good to the society. Maybe we have to take out some time to go to the schools, educate younger children. So participating civic activities, and the choice that fulfills all these is A. We'll see another question based on codes. This question is very special because it deals with rules directly. This may raise a doubt in our minds. Do we need to remember all the rules? If we were in legal profession, we might have gone for remembering all the rules, which is essential for them. But we are engineers, yet we are required to remember certain basic rules which are applicable for our profession. We strongly recommend you memorize those points, those rules. For example, a rule that tells you should not work in the area where you don't have competence. It needs to be remembered. Bribes and gifts, differentiation, need to be remembered. We will see the question now. Which rule of practice prohibits engineer from offering or receiving any contribution to influence the award of contract? The rule here is 4C. The choice is D, 4C. We will quickly go to the next topic, engineering as a social experimentation. Engineering profession has to do with society, and each project, irrespective of the branch of engineering, is an experimentation. We will start this topic with a beautiful quote by Louis Marie Henry Navier. I shall read the quote for your convenience. To undertake a great work, and especially a work of novel type, engineer's job is novel type, means carrying out an experiment. It means taking up a struggle with the forces of nature, which includes human beings as well, without assurance of emerging as the victor after the first attack. What is this first attack? We will see in a moment of time. First we will see the features of social experimentation. The first one, the design. Any project is designed. If the project is a voluminous project, it shall not be done in the real time. What is done is a smaller version or miniaturized version of it is done, and result is seen. If the result is encouraging, then the volume or scale of project is increased. This result is called as simulation or preliminary test. Not only that, the materials used, the processes used are also tested as part of this mega project, and then the final product is tested and released in the market. Is it the end of the product? Is the responsibility of the engineer or the organization complete once the product is released in the market? It's no, my dear friends. Let us see how. We'll go back to the point. First attack. When a product is released in the market, a feedback is taken from the market regarding its success. If there are any problems in the product is withdrawn and then redesigned. The cycle goes on. The design is an iterative process, my dear friends. I can cite an example of computer science in this discipline. Microsoft has released Windows operating system XP in the initial version. When errors were reported, product was withdrawn, and improvised product was released in the market, which came to be known as package 4 or SP4 or something like that. So releasing product and withdrawing is part and parcel of engineering design, which essentially means that engineering is a social experimentation. We'll take another question. Side A, side B. Conscientiousness, A1. Comprehensive perspective, A2. Moral autonomy, A3. accountability A4. We'll go with accountability. What is accountability? Acceptance of all actions is our accountable. We are accountable for what we do. So acceptance is very important. The first term seems to be very tough word. Conscience. What is conscience? Live according to moral values is our conscience. Look to the choice. You have broken the code and the answer is D here. Very simple. We'll go to another topic, engineer's responsibility for safety and risk. The important topics here are safety, risk, types of risk, designing for safety and risk benefit analysis. Quickly we'll go through these points. What is safety? My dear friends, safety and risk are two sides of a coin called engineering design. One is defined with the help of others. Absence of one is presence of other. We see the definition. A thing is safe if its risks are judged to be acceptable. There is no absolute safety here. I hope you understand that. What is risk now? A thing that is perceived to be unsafe is risk. You see that these are dual to each other, converse to each other. Coming to the types of risks, various classifications, quickly we will see the nomenclature, detailed can be done at a later time. Voluntary versus involuntary. Voluntary means you accept the risk. Involuntary means you are forced to take that risk. The second one, short term versus long term consequences. If a risk is supposed to have risk after some time, then it is called as long term. Maybe we will be tempted to accept that risk. Expected probability. When does it happen? What is the probability that it will happen is another one. Less painful, high probable risks are perceived to be safer than high pain and less probable risks. That's what is expected probability. Delayed versus immediate. For example, it is given that fatty food is always dangerous in the long run. Still, people violate it. They are ready to take the risk in the long run, attracting obesity related problems, high fat diet and effective over long time. Threshold level based risks. These are based on what is the level. If the risk is lesser, then it is acceptable. For example, take a chemical industry, an employee is working in a chemical industry, he resides in the quarters and the industry releases effluents in the nearby lake. The employee pretty well knows that the river is having polluted effluents being added into the river. Still he is ready to take the risk because he perceives the risk level is acceptable. But if it happens over a period of time, he may be tempted to leave the premises. We will see again a question. Loss to human life due to risks cannot be quantified. Loss due to risks is almost always measured in terms of loss to lives and property. You see very clearly that second statement is contradicting the first statement. In fact, cost benefit analysis evaluates the cost wise loss to the lives as well as property. Hence, statement 1 is false, statement 2 is true. The choice is D. This is a case we have generated, an interesting case. Normally we see on the electronic toys a warning being given, keep away from children who are below 3 years of age. Why is this given? There is a beautiful engineering reason behind this question. The case is about that only. In a nutshell, it says you are an engineer of such an industry, you are designing such a product, and you have come across a fact and research finding that every electronic gadget, including the domestic gadgets, generate low frequency radiations which could be harmful, but there is no established work that proves that there is danger to the lives. You are in a fix whether to go with this or not to go with this. You take a safe route and try to convince the management that this is not the case, we may not go for it. but management sees a good potential in this market and says, you please work out, come out with the quantitative figures of loss. What would you do now? We see the choice. Advise the management to manufacture the toys as there is no proof of any threat. Again, if you give this choice, you are violating code of ethics, because it has radiation, it may damage society. Safety of public is at stake here. Advise management to seek legal opinion from legal counsel and proceeding accordingly. Again, it supplements the first answer only. You are finding another way out. Ask the management to drop the project. Your management is not ready. You are convinced that this is safety and risk related problem and there is no evidence of ill effects caused by the toys, which correctly fits the situation here. So what is done? Give a warning until such time you find a safer product for this one. Alert the public about the consequences of it or probable dangers of it. Let me take another example, very recent example. Volkswagen has decided to withdraw around 3.5 lakhs of cars from the world and about 1.92 lakhs of cars of all variants that it manufactures. The main reason behind it is it has perceived a risk, a technical snag in the car design, so it is withdrawing, rectifying free of cost, and it may take about 10 months time as per spokesperson of Volkswagen and would be set right. This is what we are supposed to do when we design products. Answer is D here. The next topic, we will go to the next topic please. Responsibility and rights of engineers. When you are part of an organization, you have certain responsibilities fulfill and you are bestowed with certain rights as well. Rights you use when you face conflicting situations. Responsibilities talk about your commitments. Teamwork. Engineers never work in isolation. Confidentiality. You are supposed to maintain confidentiality, releasing only that matter in objective and truthful manner. Conflict of interest. We have already covered about this topic. Professional rights. Professional rights are bestowed on you through professional bodies. Professional responsibilities. Bribes, gifts and corruptive practices. We should be very clear when a gift becomes a bribe. For example, a representative comes to you, you are a responsible engineer, a representative comes to you and gives a calendar which has print of its company. Is it a bribe or a gift? You should be able to discriminate very clearly. Or you go to a hotel along with the representative during the lunch time, you pay your money. Is it a bribe or gift? There are very clear rules mentioned when a bribe becomes a gift. We should be very clear about it. The next one, occupational crimes. You occupy legally a post and do criminal jobs which are not acceptable. It's a more severe crime. Whistleblowing, very important topic. In recent past, we have seen one of the bureaucrats who is part and parcel of the government spilling the beans about a land scam in northern part of India, which is revealing so many facts. Whistleblowing is a moral activity, morally bound employee's responsibility to reveal what is causing damage to the public. Unfortunately, this is not yet an act in our country. It's pending in Rajya Sabha. We'll see question once again. Which of the following is the incorrect statement? Engineers may express publicly technical opinions that are founded upon knowledge of the facts and competence. Obviously, this statement is true. We need not complete the sentence also because it is knowledge and competence are mentioned here. Engineers may review but shall not approve those engineering documents that are in conformity with the applicable standards. It is wrong statement. When engineer is knowledge, competent and it is founded on proof, applicable laws, it needs to be certified. So statement 2, need not read remaining 2 also. B is the answer. We'll go to the next step, topic. Environment and sustainable engineering design, which has gained prominence in the recent past. ethical perspective of sustainable engineering design practices. Here what is done is, sustainable engineering is all about developing such products which meet our technological requirements for today, as well as protect the nature for the next generation as well. We should look to those kind of technologies being developed which are useful that way. Thermal review, an important component. Very recently in the month of December, where environmental meet was held, it is decided to reduce the carbon content or temperature content by 1.5 degrees or so by 2030. The idea is to have by 2030 all battery run cars in India. We shall see whether it will be successful or not. Eco design, again ecologically balanced products being designed and developed, and which will help sustenance of the nature as well. We are part of the nature, we survive by nature. Approaches to design of engineering products to support the environment. Clean energy initiative, I have already told about car example here. We will see a question again. Identify the false statement among the following. The obligation of social responsibility is embraced in the codes of ethics of professional engineering societies. There is a clear mention of sustainable engineering. It is an obligation for us, though it is not a rule as of now. Practicing of sustainable engineering requires an understanding of the technical needs of the society as well as human component in design. True, renewable energy, clean water, urban infrastructure are some of the thrust areas of sustainable development that need proper address by engineers. Obviously, these are the focal areas for the next decades to come, and the choice is none of the above. So all are important here. We will see another question. Which of the following best defines the need for sustainable engineering practices? Development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their, just now we have said this point. Engineering innovation that minimizes risk and maximizes profit. Development that makes the earth planes livable for human beings who are the owners of it. The fourth one, conceiving flexible research that may or may not result in protection of non-renewable energy resources, and the answer is A here. We will go to the global issues, another important topic. After 1960s, or to be more precise, in the latter part of the 20th century, world has become very small in terms of internet technologies or the globalization of economies, seeing opportunities, and this has also thrown up, irrespective of the domain or geography or environmental conditions, certain problems which are essential for everyone. In the recent past, we have seen certain global meets happening. Environment international meet was held, human rights meets are held, population is a problem, meets were held, social development and women meets were held. What is the responsibilities of MNCs here? Technology transfer and appropriate technologies, and then international rights, promoting morally just measures are all the important topics. Another important component is research and IPR based. Protecting someone's intellectual property is essential component. In this, we talk about plagiarism and copying of intellectual property of somebody without permission. Ethical problems in research and analysis. Environmental ethics. Most important political issue. Control the introduction of toxic and unnatural substances in the environment, a special focus on plastic here, which is neither eco-friendly nor bio-friendly. Protect the integrity of biosphere. Biosphere here includes human beings as well as other creatures in the nature, including plants and animals as well. We are not the owners of the nature. We are part of the nature. Ensure healthy environment to the human beings. Western ethical standing was anthropocentric. All the technologies were developed with human as a center, but the current focus is on other components of the biosphere as well. Do humans belong to the nature? We have already answered the question. Approaches to resolve these problems. There are two popular approaches. Cost oblivious, at any cost protect the environment, which is practically not possible. The second one, cost benefit analysis, reasonably good, but again it focuses on the cost only. Codes of ethics and guidance by professional societies help in protecting environment, which tell in terms of obligations. The ethical audit. Ethical audit is not auditing of the ethics, my dear friends. Integrating ethics into the product life cycle from the beginning till ending is ethical audit. There are 5 aspects of project realization. Ethical audit procedure is to be defined, when it is to be done, at what frequency it is to be done, along with the project life cycle itself. The decision makers' intentions and what are their objectives are to be taken care of. Formulation of the brief. What is brief here? A clear-cut mention of the project with all the components in that. Time taken, what are the commitments, when to be paid back, what are the revenues involved, and what are the ethical audits to be conducted. And the audit statement, at the end of the project, audit statement is to be given and audit reviews are to be done. We will see a question again. Which of the following is affected by unethical practices in profession as well as life? Misuse of human resources. If there is no proper ethical behavior, the problem is there is misuse of human resources, misuse of materials, workmanship is suffering, quality of life also suffers. So the choice is all the 4, B. Another question, which of the following best describes ethical behavior? Part of ethical audit once again. Developing intrinsic virtues like integrity, independence, impartiality. My dear friends, virtues we develop on our own. This won't support complete ethical behavior. Influence of extrinsic directions of professional organizations. Only professional organizations cannot dictate everything. Exercise of competence and efficiency with the help of both intrinsic virtues as well as extrinsic directions by professional bodies. C is the choice here. We will see another question. Conflicts are symptoms of differences. True statement. Conflicts may arise because of differences in understanding of the intentions, value systems, cultures, aims of actions and objects of actors. Both the statements are true and second one is correct explanation for the first one. Hence the answer is A. We will go to the another topic, the last topic, and this topic is very important from understanding point of view or more interesting because it deals with failure cases ranging from negligence on the part of the engineers or ignorance on the part of the engineers to political influences succumbing to various forces. We have Titanic ship, which is a case of impatience. We will elaborate in another session if time permits. The second one, Challenger space shuttle mired by the compromise the engineers had to do because of political pressures. The third one, Bhopal gas tragedy, a typical example of negligence and maintenance related problem. The fourth one, Chernobyl nuclear reactor, which grossly miscalculated the timings of safety. And some more recent disasters, Kolkata bridge failure very recently, which is under investigation, and about a couple of years ago there was a metro bridge failure collapse in Delhi. About 10 years ago there was a bridge collapse in Hyderabad, Amirpet. All the inquiries are in progress. We will see a question regarding the reasons for disasters here. Enron, Challenger, Titanic, Bhopal gas tragedy, Chernobyl disaster on side A. and second side we have overconfidence, shortcomings in the design and safety, impatience, false account statements, poor maintenance. All the points I have already covered. Answers are very clear. The only thing left out is Enron. Enron is the first company which manipulated financial accounts, and within 1 year from glory it fell down to disgrace, and the answer is C. Thank you, my dear friends. I hope I have given a little bit detailed explanation of what our sir GK sir has given. I hand over to GK sir for concluding.
Thanks, Mr. Desai. Dear students, I hope you got some idea about this topic. From my experience for the last 4 months and on seeing the recent IES model paper, I strongly suggest you to understand basic terminology and fundamentals and try to have analytical thinking on each and every point. Thank you. All the best. To win the race, join ACE.